Welcome back to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. We're talking about data analytics, artificial intelligence. We've got the chief data officers here with us and a bunch of the partners, and we're actually talking about priorities. Mike, I want to throw it over to you. Give us a list of top couple of priorities going on over at Department of Homeland Security.
Well, thanks, Luke. That's an easy one. I'll follow up on some of Tom's comments about inventory, and it sounds easy, it sounds simple, but for us, it's an engagement. It's not a data call. Our hope is to sort of learn where that data is and learn more about the data products that are being procured and worked and pushed up from each of those program offices and each one of those components, and sort of paint a picture about what good data is out there and how we can put it to use. With all due respect and apologies to John F. Kennedy, we continue to ask people not what they're doing to their data, but what their data can do for them. And when we ask that, we are always surprised in a pleasant way about how they think about data coming together, not just for their localized mission. And that's really where we come in at the enterprise level to say, look, we know you've been doing this work, great work for years in some cases, but think about it at a higher level. And think about if we had a place where you felt like you could put it safely. So I think that's our follow-up priority, Luke, is to give program offices and give components and give data owners a sense of trust that we're not going to take their data, we're not going to mistreat their data, we are not going to relieve them of their their need to protect it. Right? We're going to respect that, and we're going to use that data for good. I'll go back to something Nitesh said about mission intelligence, to sort of increase mission intelligence. We want to do that. We want to increase mission intelligence and business intelligence with the data we have. We want to do our best to respect all that great work that's been happening down there, but we want to spread the word. So really, it's about inventory. It's about a culture of sharing. It's about recognizing that there are mission imperatives that go beyond local program offices, go beyond local components, and that are DHS enterprise-wide. And we're going to champion those. We're going to listen. We're going to engage with our data owners and our customers to make the mission better.
Catalog, sharing, need to share, all super important activities, right? Basic table stakes, if you will, for some folks. They may think that, but certainly very important to take it to the next level. Nicholas, give us your top priority at Snowflake for the year.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. I think the biggest priority is for us to keep increasing what we call the data cloud. It's thousands of customers of Snowflake that are sharing and collaborating with data in the cloud, no matter what cloud. So Amazon, Azure, Google Cloud, it doesn't matter. Wherever your data is, you can share and collaborate with other cloud providers and other customers and dependents on the cloud. The U.S. Navy, we talking on this show about where the data is and where it's going. The U.S. Navy is a very important part, but one part of an entire Department of Defense. And we've talked about things like JADC2, the Joint All-Domain Command and Control environment, where this data will all arrive in one place so that we can keep track of everybody in a war zone better than we ever have before. We can better task assets. DHS never gets to be bored. Increasing the data sharing at DHS can only ever be a good thing. I've had the pleasure of working with DHS in the past and here at Snowflake. The FAA, I've been a pilot for 15 years. New projects like ADSB, new projects like bringing commercial drones and UAVs into the airspace. These are huge problems. They're going to take more than just the FAA, and data collaboration is probably the best way to do that. Other technology partners like Pure and Alteryx. Pure is everywhere high-speed storage and collaboration needs to go, and Alteryx is usually where any good data is being landed at and cataloged and analyzed. So Snowflake is hoping to build the data cloud out, continue working with our partners, and most importantly, our government partners to build capabilities into the Fed.
Well, you called out great examples there, a lot of high priorities. Nitesh, we just heard about the FAA. Give us your top two priorities for the FAA for this year.
So two priorities. Since we have established some basic enterprise capabilities over the past couple of years, last year we went to the FAA Management Board and requested that all the Dash 1s within the agency assign data champions for their organizations. So for each line of business, each staff office, there's a person assigned as the data champion for that organization. we wanted somebody close to the mission who understood data and could speak to the leadership within that organization about importance of data, where the priority should be, what kind of enhancements they were looking for. So we want to, this coming year, we want to kind of push in further on that data champion stuff. And we are collaborating with those data champions across the agency to have built out data action plans, which improve outcomes within their mission. So that's priority one for us, is to enhance the ability all across FAA to use data effectively through a well thought out data action plan, which those organizations build themselves, but we support. We kind of ensure that it is uniform across the agency. The second one I have already mentioned, self-service. To get use of data-driven decisions and improve data-driven decisions throughout FAA, and to get the self-service stuff going, we have to improve what we call data dexterity. Others call it data literacy. We chose to call it data dexterity. We are establishing a Center for Enablement for Advanced Analytics and Data, and data dexterity training, self-service is going to be part of it. We have started collaborating with some universities for the past few semesters. We have been working with GMU to have student projects supported by our SMEs. It works both, it benefits both parties. Obviously, it benefits the universities to give students real world examples of data problems to work on. It gives us an access into the new workforce, as well as new thinking and energy within that. So that area of training, data dexterity, enabling folks throughout the agency to use data on their own with support from us, but independent of us wherever possible. Those are two key priorities for us this upcoming year, Luke.
Wow, I love that second one, that partnership with the universities and the students, and just give them a plethora of data and let them go. Nick Saki, how about at Pure Storage? Give us the top priority for this year.
So our top priority this year is developing and expanding our investment and deployment of containerized technologies and tailoring capability for DevOps and DevSecOps, which are core to artificial intelligence and machine learning operations in organizations, as well as, of course, data analytics. Containerization is fundamentally transforming the way in which analytics platforms are built and developed because of their statelessness and their ease of propagation and management. So we're developing our technology to deliver a modern data experience by enabling consumption of data services by users in a seamless, transparent, and location agnostic fashion. And then the secondary, or I should say the complement to that, is data management and portability. So the ability to move data from premises to premises, from on premises to off premises, from private cloud to public cloud and back again, but all of that being literally invisible and transparent to the user. So letting the machines take care of data locality, temporality, and things of that nature, and just allowing the end users to focus on what it is that the problem they're trying to solve, and not having to worry about rotating the tires and changing the oil before their morning commute. As if I had to do that, I would never drive anywhere.
Well, it's a great example, right? And just having the fungibility to move around at these various computing environments as the technology evolves, super important. So again, they can focus on these higher order issues and priorities. All right, we're going to wrap it up with our last question, and that is, I'm going to ask each of you to paint a picture of the future. Right? What does it look like a couple of years from now? Not in a petri dish. I'm going to start with you, Nicholas, but what do you see over the horizon around the corner? What's the demand signal for Snowflake right now?
So I think where we're going to end up, Luke, is every agency, organization, every user of data out there will no longer have a source of their truth, but they'll have the source of the truth, the actual truth. Everybody's data from the subject matter expert who knows it best, combined for better data insights and decision making.
So important, and a great catchphrase, if you will, but not a catchphrase about the truth versus their truth. And I think that's really important. Nick, how about at Pure Storage? Well, what's it look like? You just kind of gave us a picture of what you're going to focus on this year. What's the storage play, the DevSecOps containerization going to look like in a couple of years?
I'm glad you asked. the thing that we're seeing is that the cost of materials for advanced technologies is declining over time, and that's sort of a known. But what we've seen this year, and this is acutely relevant to us as a flash storage manufacturer, is that the cost of flash as a storage medium has now fallen below the price of disk. So what we expect to see is a literal exponential increase in the velocity with which we can move data in organizations. So what this translates to is really fast cars for world-class drivers will now be much more readily available across organizations, to the point where it won't be remarkable that you have systems that are capable of moving terabytes of data per minute or per second, and thus enabling us to get to answers faster, to derive insights faster. We've seen this happen throughout, for example, the coronavirus. The research and development required to create and monitor the deployment of inoculations to follow the disease as it progresses, as it moves across the population, et cetera, has been fundamentally impacted by the ability of organizations like the CDC to actually manipulate that data, receive that data, and derive insights from it within minutes, as opposed to what historically has been weeks and months. That's just going to become de rigueur. We're going to see it everywhere, but it's going to be driven by some fundamental shifts underneath. We live in exciting times. It is an era in which the infrastructure may actually be able to keep up with the increase of the raw materials, and that would be data in this case.
And the computing, et cetera. Very good point. With these things are merging together and in a more synergistic way, if you will. Alan, how about at Alteryx? What's it look like in a couple of years for you all?
So I really like what Taka Riga at the GAO, he's the chief data scientist there, said. That the goal of upskilling isn't to turn everyone into a data scientist, but really to create a class of general contractors who understand the power of what data has in it and can use it to improve the outcome of their work. And I think he's dead on. I think what we're going to see is knowledge workers in every agency being armed with some better technology, moving away from a 30-year-old spreadsheet into modern tech that allows them to leverage AI, ML, automation into their processes, that not only brings them great value in their careers, and makes the work more exciting, but makes their agencies, their organizations much more competitive. And I think that trend is simply going to accelerate. I think we'll look back 5 years from now, and this will be a core skill of every knowledge worker in the workforce.
No question about it. Nitesh, how about at the FAA? We've cited some examples of some very intense programs you have over there. What's it look like in 2 to 3 years as the chief data officer? What are you expecting to see as you look around the FAA, so to speak? What's the flying public expected to see, perhaps?
Much like some of the others have mentioned, it is what we are striving for with an FAA is an era where information provides kind of actionable insights to detect and predict unsafe operations, right? And to improve the operational efficiency, so the decision-making process for every one of these things is improving. So decision intelligence, insights at the point where the decisions are made, and lots of decisions get made on a daily basis throughout the agency. So that availability of higher capability augmenting the human everywhere. So that is a broad, expansive vision. To enable that, we obviously have to get the skills of the workforce to match that, and the quality of the data they have using have to improve, and the tools that they bring to bear on the problem which we are deploying at the moment have to be up to that task. So all of this, because everything becomes possible as the cost of these MLAI things continue to drop, as the cost to make these predictive models continue to drop, these advanced tools will kind of fade into the background, and the humans will be able to make these decisions, augmenting their current decision process seamlessly. So that is what I think we are working towards. You will see things like digital twins kind of getting incorporated into key areas, so that we can have more real-time actions on safety, where currently we kind of pre-plan those, we systematically think about the safety issues, but as time goes on, where more emergent, folks like the unmanned aircraft or uncrewed aircraft enter the airspace in greater numbers, the ability to actually understand the airspace in near real time and the safety status of the environment in near real time will become more important. So I think this is decision intelligence at the point where the decision making is important. That's where we are headed.
Fascinating, and we're all looking forward to that. Thank you, Nitesh. Tom, how about at the Navy? When a sailor, on boards at the Navy or comes out of the Naval Academy, well, what's it going to look like in 2 to 3 years? Are they going to be a data scientist? Are you going to hand them a laptop and a bunch of tools? What can we expect?
So I think it was Nicholas who kind of mentioned but so what we're striving for is a digital citizen. Everyone is a digital citizen. They understand what it means to participate in the ecosphere of the digital citizenship, right? They have some basic skills, right, where they can get after the use of data for decision-making purposes and supporting operational advantage, right? But the real key thing that we're after is this term emerged a few years or so ago. I think it came from someone than Jake, the DoD, the Joint Artificial Intelligence Center, right? It was called a no new bad, right? So don't deploy anything else that makes the situation worse, right? So we're kind of pivoting to a half full mantra here in the Department of the Navy, I would say, and we're calling it embrace the new good. We're creating an environment that is better than what folks have today, and we want people to use it and they want to embrace it, right? And so we want a workforce that is enabled by data to create operational advantage and to use that information to drive the future workforce and the future warfight at the speed of mission. And so as cycle times decrease, as our adversaries get smarter and more wise, as the number of adversaries seems to be increasing, right, that we, at least from a peer adversary perspective, right, we need to be able to compete on multiple fronts, whether that's a digital front, whether that's a traditional kinetic warfight, whether that's inside the weapons engagement zone or whether that's from afar with long-range precision fires, right? We have a very broad, very diverse set of things that we need to support. And so it's really important that we can gather all that sensor data, and I think Nick mentioned it as well, right? High speed, get that data in, get it processed, push the processing to the edge. And then really what you're doing is you have some very high-skilled people that are writing, really complicated algorithms. I think and Nitesh mentioned the unmanned situation that we have. There's a lot of things that we want to try and automate, but there's also some things that will forever have humans in the loop for very good safety reasons, right? And so striking that balance. And I think in the next 2 to 3 years, Luke, you mentioned, where do we see ourselves? I really see ourselves where those people that have graduated and entered there, maybe lieutenants or the majors and commanders and lieutenant commanders, right, understand the value of the data, and they're starting to feed that into the general officers and the flag officers in the department, and really trying to drive that analytics throughout the department. And I think it's going to be really exciting over the next couple of years.
Looking forward to that. Mike Horton, again, just entered on duty. Congratulations once again. What do you think it's going to look like in 2 to 3 years? What are you expecting? You're sort of laying those tracks down, doing the cataloging, et cetera. What's your goal over the next 3 years as the department matures in regards to the data cataloging, et cetera, and the use of AI and ML?
I think we're going to follow a little bit of what the Department of the Navy is doing, and no new bad, right? So right now, our data architecture is everywhere. Our hope is that in a couple of years we have a few things that's standard. For instance, no longer we will have a junk drawer, right? I'd rather a box of Legos. If you add something to the mix, it had better sort of fit what we're trying to do and have that same architecture so we can utilize that data to its maximum. Our goal, very simply, is to maximize resources, at DHS to help people. That's what we do. That's the mission of the department. And if we can respond faster, if we can make better decisions, if we're better equipped to do that mission, that's to me what data adds to that mission set. So everything we do, we'll work toward that goal. I think in a couple of years, we'll have tools that come in, we'll have data sets that come in, we'll have a capability, a fast turnaround capability on dashboards, and I'll give a couple examples. Recently, our response to COVID and vaccinations, our response to what's happening in Afghanistan, and our ability to move data at the southern border quickly, right? Those things right now are very individual. I'm hoping in a couple of years we have platforms and tools set up so those reports and that the speed to which we can use data to help that mission is faster and more resilient and more persistent. So I think it's foundational what we're doing now, but we're building toward a future where we can work together to speed the data to mission.
Fantastic, and I really do appreciate it on behalf of every American citizen. We appreciate everything that all of you are doing to keep the country safe and let us all prosper. I'd like to thank again today's guests for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join us for this program. I'd like to thank all the sponsors for supporting us on the show. I'd like to thank the good people here at Federal News Network that make our program so successful and enjoyable. And most of all, I'd like to thank you, the listening audience out there that tune in every month. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network.